Before we get started, this video is sponsored by Fab Foundry, one of the first Flesh and Blood specialized game stores in the world, a pillar of the local Fab community in Portland, Oregon, a world tour organizer, and my personal favorite LGS. Fab Foundry is your one-stop shop for all things Fab related, whether that's singles, sealed product, playmats, sleeves, dice and tokens, especially featuring products from Metal Fab and Tie Cards. Fab Foundry also offers a rewards program which you can use to get store credit back on all your purchases. So please go check out Fab Foundries, support our local community in Portland, and use our promo code FleshandBad for a discount on your next singles order. Hey everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today I wanted to go over my skirmish results. So I actually made it to the finals and won my local skirmish, and you can kind of see that I was playing ZEN here. So this is like the deck list I basically brought. We'll kind of go over it in February, but got a nice little Marvel Scurv and also Cerebellum Processor, so wanted to just go do a quick deck tech. I think this might be like the last Blitz video I make, at least for the near future, but yeah, just want to kind of showcase the deck, because I think Blitz is like at least a fun, kind of refreshing break from CC right now, which I think CC is like a little bit stale. I don't know why. Maybe just a gravy slippy and stuff like that. But anyways, let's talk about Blitz for a bit. So this is the list I brought. So basically, kind of just the same core 40 cards that we normally know and love. I think the only like spicy card that you might have seen me play on stream was Censor, and I think Censor is actually like just very, very solid in Blitz right now. I was actually kind of impressed. Like, I didn't actually get the chance to like hit with Censor, but basically all my sensors like fully blocked out, so you can kind of infer the value, I guess, from that. Like sometimes it forces your opponent to block in like suboptimal ways, which is pretty cool. But this is the ZEN list I brought. I'd say it's overall just a bunch of like pretty good ZEN stuff. Like you have your good Tiger cards, you have your good just synergy cards in general, like the Tigers, and then just your generically good ZEN cards like levels and like all your Transcend cards and stuff like that. So yeah, nothing super new about the ZEN list. I did end up after the stream changing my AB configuration a little bit. So instead of going on AB2 with Dolrun and Tide Flippers, I went up to AB3. I was expecting a little bit more wizards, but I think Tegan was the only wizard in the room. So maybe not super necessary depending on your meta. Like one thing you could do if you don't foresee a lot of wizards is you just like switch this Null Rune Glove to a Sync Blow. I think that's also like pretty reasonable. But yeah, even with like the triple null rune, the Blaze matchup is still like pretty rough. So I don't know how much this like actually helps. I feel like Blaze is like a very like die roll dependent matchup, is at least what it feels like to me. Yeah, but this is the deck list I piloted to a first place finish. Got a bunch of cool stuff in promos and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just play like a couple just for fun games. If you want to see more games, feel free to check out the stream that we did. Kind of goes into a lot more variety, I guess, of matchups, and then also kind of like I talk about some of the deck choices as well. So feel free to check that out if you want to. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into some games. Got a Florian, so I'm assuming probably like a chance stacking Florian. I think there's two schools of thought. You can either run the null runes or you can just go AB0. Kind of tempted to try out AB0 and see. I've actually not played against a ton of Florian, so I kind of want to see if AB0 is actually maybe okay. Let's try it. So it seems like they are on Scepter. That's fine. So I think like you can go to AB1. Maybe that's better. This will actually be a good test because I think you can probably get away with AB0, but I'm not sure how punished we'll get here. All right, discard some fruits. Seems pretty good. Oh, they're not even gonna Scepter. Interesting. Maybe their hand's pretty good. So what are we doing here? I kind of want to just play out like Growl, Levels, Tiger Swipe. That's at least the line I see. We would have to use the Pouncing Paws, which is like unfortunate. Yeah, it's like fine though. Not exactly in love with this. Maybe we are supposed to just be on AB1 just because it feels pretty free. I think we're gonna go ahead and Arsenal Chase just so we save it for a future turn. I don't love popping Pouncing Paws here, but we are getting like 4-ish value. Or like 5-ish value. So yeah, we're gonna go and pop the pause here. It's like a little bit sad, but I think it does keep up the aggression nicely. But yeah, I think Chance attacking Florian's probably another one of the decks that you kind of have to beat right now. I feel like Florian loses pretty bad to like Burdens. I don't know how actually how his Blaze matchup is, but I assume it's probably fine. Not like I imagine Crown actually kind of makes that pretty okay. But yeah, we'll go ahead and just pass back here. I imagine they're maybe just going to Scepter of Pain here, which is not the end of the world. All right, Arcane Seed's also pretty good. So they're starting off the chance stacking. I think we just need a YOLO off Armory here. No chance in the first couple hands is like a little bit unfortunate, but is how it is. We hit, which is nice. That's actually a pretty good hit because it also means we can get Gogan off of it. So a little bit lucky there, but I think we kind of maybe needed it. We'll see. They were not in that bad of shape, but I think maybe your Rs was just do AB1. I don't know how much it like would have really mattered though. It's a good question. I think I need more reps on this particular matchup. Like this one, I think this might be my first or second game into Florian. I feel like the Florians I've played against have not been on like the chance stacking plan and instead just been doing more like normal Florian things. Yep, seems like they're going for the chance stacking though. Alright, unfortunate hand here. Almost tempted to just like IP with a drop in the ocean, but I do kind of want to still play out Censor. I guess we still do have Zen State, which is nice. I feel like maybe the play is actually just to play Censor IP with a drop. Feels pretty weird. But might be fine. If we can draw like a second Transcend card, then we can just hold up Kasaya. So yeah, like I don't actually know how much the chance stacking matters against Zen. Because we always get the opportunity to basically like double Transcend in response to it most of the time. It's like the worst card for me. I feel like it's like Felling, right? They're keeping a bunch of cards. What does keeping a bunch of cards mean? Probably means they just want to stack a bunch of Rune Chants. I think I'm going to actually name like Malefic. I feel like that might be a decent name. Because I'm assuming that they're going to want to like stack up Chance. I don't know. Germinate, maybe also a decent name. All right, bunch of yellows. Interesting. This hand kind of sucks. Actually, it's not that bad because we can actually like just give Pouncing Key go again. So this is actually fine. We are going to go shields down for a turn, which is like a little bit scary. So yeah, I don't actually know if like the AB necessarily helps in this matchup. It could. I feel like if we just draw any chi, then we also are in pretty decent shape. I think I'm supposed to go shields down for a turn at least here, just so I can start pushing a little bit of damage. So I think we are just going to do this now. We could also just like be IPing with chi. Is another option. If we IP with chi, what happens? Might not be the worst thing in the world. I mean, we do also just have the ability to shuffle. They can't kill us just yet. To me, this is fine. We could also just get like a random 0 cost and then play Tiger Swipe afterwards and then hold back with the chi. Or we could play the Chase the Tail. I think we're supposed to just like IP with the chi until they do something. I feel like we'll have an opportunity to find another chi though, or we should at least. I think we're just gonna go for it maybe. I think they're not at the point where they can threaten to kill us yet. So maybe we were fine just going shields down for a turn or two. We are getting close to kill range though. So I'm a bit concerned about that. Channel Millennium Tree also quite scary. Yeah, Channel Millennium Tree plus Scepter is also like a pretty rough combo. Thistle Bloom also a pretty good one. Seems like we're gonna knock them out of most of their cards here. Put them down to 6 functionally. So I guess the question is whether or not they're gonna like swing out here. Like if they have like a Felling plus blue in hand or something. But yeah, definitely looking a little risky. Yeah, that's a good draw though. So we are going to have the ability to like fully shut them out here. So I think what we actually want to do is we want to arsenal the Sacred Art, right? Because the Sacred Art allows us to flip a chi on demand without having to get a second chi in the deck. So I think the play is going to be Wind Chakra, Rising Sun. See what we draw. Maybe we bottom the Key Unleash. Actually, bottoming the Key Unleash is good because it means we can like now tutor it. This is fine. So now I think we're just holding this in our arsenal for whenever they decide to go ahead and pop the Rune Chance. And then we're basically going to try to just ruin that turn. We could also get pretty close to killing them depending on what they do. But I almost feel like they should be chunking out the Rune Chance a little bit more. Like, I feel like they should be sending like an attack here to force me to have it and then build up a second stack of Rune Chance. Like, I feel like that's normally, at least when I was playing against like Stack Florian before, that's how they would kind of do it in the matchup. We are coming in for 6 here, which is nice. So maybe we're forcing like another card out of hand. So maybe they're just like playing out some Rune Chance or something. We're doing a good job of getting them low though. Like they are starting to get in pretty risky territory. So now we can just double transcend to this. We could also just like take this if we really wanted to, block like 4 here. So this is 6 plus 16. That's probably too greedy though, right? Like I think what we'd rather do is just like Homage plus Sacred Art. Yeah, seems like it makes sense. We aren't going to get the buff from the Sacred Art, but that's fine. Okay, and then they scoop. So I don't know if that's necessarily the all right, let's do a rematch. So I guess the question is whether or not we want to run the Tide Flippers. I feel like it's actually reasonable to run the Tide Flippers. Let's try it with the Tide Flippers this time because I'm kind of curious. They're running Face Purgatory instead, which I feel like maybe makes a bit of sense. I feel like the Tide Flippers might let us control our life total a little bit easier. And we can also just like pay into Scepter if they decide to send it. I feel like they should be activating Scepter a little bit more than they are, but not sure. So I think the play is we're going to try to growl them and get them to block, and then we're going to try to pass over what, like, close chain pass over what they do. If they don't do that, then I guess we just, like, pitch pass over and Arsenal stir. Something like that. Alright, so this block's fantastic for us. The close chain now. Stir, pass over. Transcend. Then we can Gakara, get a 1-cost. Probably like our Breed Anger, I think. So we do unfortunately lose the Growl buff, but not the end of the world. We kind of just like need to do that. Let's get our Breed and then go ahead and do 1/4/1/5. Pretty decent. So they blocked again with a Summer's Fall. So they don't have Decompose just yet. The Reduce is nice though. So what am I naming here if they decide to hold cards back and not block? I feel like I'm just naming like Arcane Seeds or something. It's probably like the best bet. Go ahead and name it. They might not even play it, depending on like what their hand is. Well, obviously they can't play it, but like they might not have even wanted to. I think this hand's good. So is there a way that we can like end on levels here? There is, right? So we can just Harmony, Preserve. I feel like our Harmony is actually pretty likely to hit here. Let's go ahead and go for it. I think we have Tucci on the bottom too, so our chances are pretty high. Alright, fortunately whiff there, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and then I guess just Preserve, putting... We'll go back in the deck. Like Breed's fine. Gain a resource. I think we just want another 1-cost. Maybe we just grab that Breed right back. And then we're just going to do draw buff on the levels to end it. Seems pretty good. Could obviously get punished by Chi, but then we're IPing with the Chi, so we're happy with that. We do 1/5/1/5. Seems pretty solid. So I don't actually know if the AB is like helping us all that much. I feel like it prevents them from just like setting up a bunch of rune chants on like turn 0 if they're going first. I feel like there's pros and cons. It also, I guess, means that we don't have to like overcommit to having Zen State. We can just kind of like, if we need to pay into a bunch of stuff, then we can, and then we still have Zen State for later. But this, I think, is good. We'll do buff, draw. Chase is a nice arsenal. Might go for like a Purgatory here if they want to, but I think I'm fine with that. We are getting them pretty low. They do have some Decompose fodder, so they can maybe hit us with like a Plow or a Felling here if they want to. Alright, coming in with the Scepter. Do we want to pay for this? Probably not, right? I think we're just going to use these 3 cards, arsenal this card, and just try to like sandbag chi. So I think we're not going to pay for this. So you have a enchant there. I think that's fine. We probably are going to be able to almost kill them here. So start with the Harmony. We whiff. Not the end of the world. We hit, though. That's fantastic. And then I guess we can just pitch the Cosmic, use the Chi, arsenal this. All right, stick to the original plan. You do want to be kind of cautious about how you're using Zen State in this matchup. It's kind of just like how you played Zen back in the day, like against like other Florians. Just like you wanted to kind of use it ideally on a turn where they're like having send like multiple rune chants at you. You don't want to do it like proactively, I guess is what I'm saying. You want to be like, you want to try to do it at instant speed so you can like force your opponent to do something, as opposed to like you set up a Zen State and they just like wait it out. I feel like Zen State was a really cool like skill testing part of Zen's kit. I kind of missed that part. All right, if they grant us here, that's fine. Might as well just get a +1 in case that matters, but I don't think it will. Gain a resource, and then we're not making a Zen State here, so they can just discard their Chi, and that's fine. Not the end of the world. And then we're still going to send it at them with a bunch of damage. So I think that was a pretty good face Purgatory for them. Just because they got our arsenal, also get to draw another card. But we have it out of the way, which is also nice. We're still sending in with a bunch of damage. The one thing about this deck that's nice is like you are just faster than a lot of decks just because of like how fast you can like redraw into Chi. So like they might not be able to like fully block us out here. Alright, so they are going to get fully online, which is scary, but they are going to not have a turn next turn, so I think it's very dependent on what our next draw is. If we can draw some pretty good pressure, then I think we probably do have this game, but if we whiff, might be a little tough. Alright, this is a perfect hand though, so now we just get to play another Chase the Tail. Seems pretty good. This is not one of those clunky hands that just is sending in for 7 or something like that. What is this, like 3 here, then we get 4 off the Chase, plus another 3 here. So that's how much damage? 3, 4, 3 is 10, plus another 4, plus another 4, so it's like 18, 4 card 18. Am I counting that right? Might have been miscounting. No, I think it is a 4 card 18, right? Because we get +4 from here, 3, 4, yeah, 4 card 18. Not too bad. Cannot complain. If they're using the Haunting for value here, I think that's also a pretty big deal for us. It feels like they're just a little bit too slow on making the rune chants. Reduce, obviously quite nice though. Like they're gonna have to give us their full hand here, basically. All right, finish on swipe, so we'll put them to 1 unless they block. Seems pretty good. I feel like they should be using their bark skin a little bit more liberally here, but maybe they just don't have a good excuse. Okay, blocking with a Nightblade, I'm also fine with. So they'll go stay at 4, no cards in hand. We keep redrawing into Chi, which is also quite nice. So yep, I think we're just going to keep sending it here. We don't have to really be afraid of dying at this point because like they only have 5 rune chance or 9 rune chance. So like the chances of us losing are pretty slim. And I think, so what are we getting here? Probably just mauling, right? Could also like Arsenal a Tiger for next turn. I don't think that's a bad play. Actually, I think that might be the play. So if that's the case, maybe we just want to get the wins and then just do like 100 wins, wins of eternity. We'll do 1 and 4 because that might be a little bit more annoying for them to block. We can do 1, 4, 5 here, Arsenal Tiger. And then we can just set up for a good next turn. This also does pretty decently against their quick dodge, I think. Because I think the breakpoints here still demand at least a card out of them, or at least another piece of armor. But yeah, I'd say this is going pretty well. So they have to give us a card here, plus quick dodge. Seems good. And then we have Tiger for next turn, so we're like guaranteed basically not to brick. And yeah, that's kind of like the important part of, I guess, keeping a Tiger is like, if we didn't keep the Tiger there and we drew the pouncing key, we wouldn't have been able to play it that turn. Or like this turn, we would just be like pitching it or whatever. So I think it made a lot of sense there to just like Arsenal a Tiger, just so that we're not stranding ourselves, basically. And now we get Drop in the Ocean as a nice arsenal in case we manage to draw like double Transcend. So all in all, I'd say pretty happy with how that play worked out. It's really curious to me that they're not using the Bark Skin, because like they're gonna die, or like they're potentially gonna die with just like Temper on board, which feels quite rough. But maybe they don't need to yet. Maybe they have like a very defensive hand here that they can manage to pull out. I don't know fully what their play is here though, because like if their play is to just keep building up rune chance, like we saw kind of how that worked last game, where like they just like kind of overcommitted to it, and then they weren't able to like necessarily capitalize on it. Right, so this hand's perfect. You pay for any amount of rune chance, and I guess we might as well. We actually don't even need to pop a Zen State here, do we? We can actually just like block this out, right? So we'll drop plus, I don't know. I guess we can like Pathwell Travel too. I don't think it really matters. Give it go again. Gain a bunch of resources, and then might as well just Rising Sun too. Why not? I guess we can like. We can also just like ape. We can also just make a Zen State here. I kind of doubt that they're going to be able to like regenerate the rune chance, but maybe we just do that as like a safety valve. Put a Chi, I guess, on the bottom. I think we're just paying for this, right? Yeah. So I guess maybe this is one of those games where we don't even need to make a Zen State. We'll just sit on it because like that's their kind of core game plan, right? I think this is working out pretty well. So now we get the felling. Let's go again for some reason. I guess we can like bottom the 100 wins, and then do we have a swipe still left? Okay, we don't have a swipe, but we do have an underwhelming gust wave if we just want like a 0 cost to send at them. I guess we don't even need to do that, right? We can just like block 5 and pass. I guess we can even maybe block with Crown because like the Crown's not getting much better. And we're gonna not be on an arsenal, so I don't think it matters. Stay at a nice healthy 19. And now we're still setting on Zen State in case they want to try to reset the combo up. I think it might be just too little too late at this point. So they do get to Germinate, which is pretty good. So you get to make, how many rune chance? Like, how many is this? It's a decent chunk. 6 or 8 rune chance. Yep, that's pretty good. I think we're just going to Sacred Art here. And they might live through this, but like, we're probably going to strip their hand here. And yeah, it seems like they're maybe off. So let's take a look and see like what cards they actually had left for enchant generation. So they had Germinate left. They had Neverbloom, which I guess they can like use to recur the Germinate is one option. They had the Read the Runes. And then I guess like Thistlebloom Life, but they don't really have many ways to like enable Thistlebloom Life. So kind of curious. Yeah, I don't know if that's how that matchup's like normally supposed to go, but like felt like it was pretty good and just like sitting on Zen State's really powerful because it means that like they just cannot kill you with rune chance, which is also really cool. Like maybe you don't actually need the extra 1 AB and maybe you're supposed to run the pouncing paws just for the extra tiger to like unbrick hands. I think I could see both ways being correct. They both felt good. I feel like the AB also had like the added benefit there of like we didn't have to pop our Zen State, so maybe that was pretty reasonable. So I'd say overall, like I think maybe you're supposed to do AB1, but yeah, not 100% sure. All right, let's see if we can get one more. Playing against a Slippy. So definitely an interesting matchup. I think we definitely want our kind of like Giriak package here. I think boarding out the Growls makes sense. And I do like Censor into Assassin. I guess the question is, what is the weakest card here? Probably just the third Breed Anchor. That's typically the card I'd board out the most. And yeah, I think we can just run it like this. Interesting hand going second, so we do need to be a little bit careful about our life total here. Like, we might not end up blocking out both daggers if they try to go for that. Maybe we're just going to try to use the flick to kind of pad our life total a bit. I feel like most Araknis will just start out on some number of dagger swings, but it looks like they're actually going to start on the persuasive. So I think it actually makes sense to just give them Ancestral Harmony here, and then we'll flick if they go for like a Just Nick Pump or something. Because this has Go-Go, we might end up even just like double transcending off of it. If they decide to just like leave it here. Alright, so we'll give them 3 block there. Maybe just try to block 4 on whatever their next threat is. Maybe they were kind of scared that we had like a Day Reactor or something. Alright, coming in with a Hunter's Clave. I feel like most Arachnes will just flick a Knife at me anyways for the most part. So I guess the question is like, do we want to actually give up on this flick or not? Part of me just wants to take the damage here and save the flick in case we need it, because we're going to get marked this turn anyways. The only question is like whether or not the dagger is like going to be going to the graveyard. So I think we're just going to go ahead and pass on this. All right, they are going to get a Blood Splatter Vest. Interesting. Maybe just to swing another dagger for 2. So in order to remark me, they'd have to destroy this dagger. I think I'm fine with that, right? Like they can like refill like the other clave, but I feel like that's pretty low value. I think I'm still just trying to save this for just like a normal attack. And now we're not even marked, which is fantastic. So I think before they close the chain, we're supposed to homage Path Well Traveled on the dagger. Just so we get 2 pre-flip chi here. There's actually maybe some merit to like, no, making a Zen State seems maybe too cute. But double flipping chi seems pretty nice. All right, so we'll go ahead and arsenal the flick here. That's fine. Okay, into Codex getting... This is a weird play. All right, so they get the Persuasive. We block it with the Flick Flack. I mean, alternatively, we could have just kept this in Arsenal, I guess, and then we draw like back up and block with like Pouncing Paws. Maybe that was actually better. Hold on. Let's actually maybe block with the Pouncing Paws instead. Because I actually maybe just want to keep the Flick Flack in Arsenal for next turn. It's basically like we drew an extra card, right? Because they played a Codex of Blood on turn 1. So maybe that's actually better, is to just like sandbag this Arsenal. And then now we're just keeping 2 chi in hand. Which I think will be pretty good. Worst case scenario, we can always like use the chi to like pitch the Blood Rod if we need to. But yeah, this is great. So now we get to do a Chase Aspect turn and then also sit on Flick Flack and Arsenal. I think we're supposed to still Kakara here. We're only getting like 2 value out of it as opposed to the normal 3 value because of the frailty. But I think that it's better to like do that than to like just like paying the Blood Rod or whatever. Especially because we're going to have to end up paying 1 into Chase the Tail here anyways. So I'd say we're in a pretty good spot. Codex of Blood Rod drawing us an additional card there is also quite nice. we're basically like up a card on our opponent functionally, it feels like, whereas we normally like wouldn't have been if they didn't play that. Yeah, Codex of Blood Rot is an interesting one. I don't know if it's necessarily good though, is the problem. I feel like that Codex was also a bit on the weaker side. Right, they have a sync there, that's fine. So I feel like worst case scenario, like the card we least want to get hit by is like a inertia trap or something. But I don't actually know how many like Araknis are running that card. I feel like I've seen it like one time, and it was pretty good that one time that was played against me, so I'm maybe scared of it ever since. We'll see though. I imagine they're probably not running it. Okay, it seems like maybe just running the sinks instead. Still pretty good value for us. We're basically clearing out their hand, even though they're playing a bunch of reacts. We're chipping in a little bit of damage, putting some cheat in the deck. So all in all, I don't think I can complain here. And we're still just sitting on react in case they do anything, so I'd say we're like pretty well insulated against any disruption here. We are gonna have to unfortunately take the Blood Rot damage, but not the end of the world. And okay, we draw out this hand, which is fantastic, obviously. Probably one of the better hands you can ask for. So question is, how scared are we of Codex of Frailty? They use one, they have one in the deck. They don't really have many other good threats beside it. I think we're just supposed to say no blocks and get hit by this, and if they hit a red, good beats. They do hit a red. It's pretty good red at that. Definitely would have liked to play that. But it's fine. Alright, pain in the backside. Also pretty good. I still feel like we're supposed to sit on the Flick Flack, though. Like, I feel like the power level here is quite high. So I think we're going to take another 4 here. And just wait for them to kind of tap out of their threats, basically. There's maybe a consideration to like drop in the Ocean plus Rising Sun there. Maybe we'll do it on this last thing. So they're not even going to go for the Leave No, which is fascinating. Interesting. So I think now we're just going to drop plus do this and then force them to like reapply the mark. I think that makes sense. So I'm curious why they didn't go for Leave No there. Seems like a bit of a strange play. So we'll do drop plus do this, put it on the mark. So we took quite a bit of damage there, but some of that was just bad RNG off the top. Censor, I think, is that a good draw? I feel like the answer is no. We'd rather just have Chi, right? Because then the Chi lets us like play Sacred Art. So I think we're just bottoming that. And then they're gonna get in for 1, and they can't really flick for any amount of value. I guess they can like break their dagger if they want to just like reapply the mark for next turn. I think all in all, I'm fine with that. Also, this kind of like raises kind of a pretty good point about why I don't run CNC in this deck. I think there are some ZEN lists that are running CNC. I don't run it because like I feel like Crown of Providence is like almost like the default headpiece in Blitz for a lot of decks. So it feels pretty weak. The Sacred Art's going to be nice. We're going to get the full mode on levels. Unfortunately, you can't get Chase, but not the end of the world. And then we're also reshuffling a bunch of Chi back, which is quite nice as well. So I think the play is to get a 1 cost here. Yeah, I think we get a 1 cost and then hope to draw into like a 0 cost. So is Breed better than Mauling? I guess it's... no, I guess Mauling's still better, right? I guess Mauling's worse in the case that we draw into a Chain Ender, though. So maybe we're supposed to get Breed in the case that we do draw into a Chain Ender. Yeah, let's get Breed, I guess. Because we're getting the full mode on levels, so we're going to be drawing a random card. I will just YOLO this. It's baseline +1, and we already have an arsenal. So I think it makes sense. We're at minimum getting 1 damage here. And then we might be getting even more depending on how the shuffle works out. Or, oops, sorry. Play out the Harmony. I hit a Preserve. A little unfortunate because that means we can't get back our Chase the Tail, but not the end of the world. Still going to be setting in for a decent chunk of damage here. We have plenty of armor. We have a D-React sitting in Arsenal. So I'd say I feel pretty safe right now. It's mainly just playing around this last codex is what I'm scared of most. But I guess the last codex isn't even that bad for us, really. Because they don't have Leave No or CNC or anything super impactful. Alright, go ahead and play out the breed. Representing an additional 1 here. If they drop too low, we can also pop our Pouncing Paws to threaten potentially another 1. Which we might honestly do if they take all of this, because it's 5-2-1. So I think I might just pop the Pouncing Paws to force a card or a piece of armor out of them. It would just force the Blood Splatter Vest, though, so maybe the value on that's somewhat low. Oh, we do have this extra Tiger, too, so maybe we're already threatening it. I guess we could threaten, like, Flick Knives if they decide to take all of this. So we got 2-1-1. That's pretty decent. If we hit off the top on that Harmony, I think we just, like, probably win the game. But I think we're still doing fine here. I feel like the biggest card we have to play around at this point is, like, Kiss of Death plus something. So I'm going to force their Blood Splatter Vest here, and I think popping the Pouncing Paws does make sense to just force either their Flick Knives or a card out of hand. Basically, the trade here is Crouching Tiger for card. I'd consider Flick Knives to basically be a full card at this point in the game. So if they give up the Flick Knives, I think I'm also fine with that. Giving up Bonds is also great. So we get a full card out of them, and they keep their Flick Knives for next turn. So I'd say all in all, that was a pretty good trade. So I think the play here is going to be probably to block with Mauling. So they have Flick. They can Flick a Clave. We do have to be, like, a little bit concerned. I guess we can, like, force them to do it, though, right? We can block with, like, Crown plus Kasaya, force them to pump, then Flick Flack, and then Mauling Key on whatever they do next. I think that seems pretty sound. And then we could just do, like, Windchakra plus Passover. Worst case scenario here, they have, like, a Codex to follow it up. I guess we'll get rid of a Mauling, right? It doesn't really matter. That's fine. I guess we probably shouldn't have filtered, because there's, like, a chance that we don't draw into, like, a combo card, and then we don't get, like, the full value or whatever. Maybe that's a consideration. Alright, they're gonna go for Take Up the Mantle, Bonds, plus a Razor's Edge. So we could have actually passed over the Bonds there if we wanted to. So currently we're taking 6, we get a 1. They take, what is the best card in your hand? It's probably the Passover, right? Take Passover, we're left with Aspect plus Windchakra plus Mauling. It's, like, a little bit rough. So I think we should just Flick here so we can, like, Arsenal the Aspect, and we'll not drop too low. Didn't unfortunately see the Bonds of Agony coming, but that's fine. Rarely do. At least it's a lot less impactful in this hand, because, like, our floor here is still quite high. Like, the best card here is obviously the Passover, or maybe, like, the Windchakra. I guess, like, both the same card, basically. I guess they can take, like, a second Windchakra out of the deck. Maybe that's, like, a better play. I don't know. Well, like, we still get to go 2 into 5, and we're still sitting at a pretty high life total. So we're stripping 3 cards functionally. Maybe 2 cards if they have, like, another React here. But yeah, I'd say this is, like, pretty fine for us. It doesn't really matter too much, like, what they take here. So taking the Passover, I think that makes sense. And then we're still sitting at a pretty healthy board state, or healthy kind of hand. They can't really use their Flick Knives for the breakpoints unless they have a D-React. So it feels pretty good. They get to keep a 1-card hand, we get to keep an Arsenal. So even if it's, like, Codex, I don't think that's that bad for us. They don't even really have a Leave No, so they're just going to get a 0 for 3 at that point. And, like, we're pretty much out of Flick Knives range as well. So, yep, seems pretty good. This hand is clunky, but we can make it work. So what is the play here? We want to do, like... this is actually kind of tough, because I want to do, like, Underwinds plus Winds of Eternity. I guess maybe that's still the play. We block with Pouncy Key, do that, and then just like IP with the flick. Feels pretty rough, but I don't know if there's a better play. Actually, maybe the better play is like 2-1-3 because that guarantees they either block with the flick knives or 2 cards, whereas this guarantees basically the same, but we get to arsenal the flick and draw towards like more power. So I think that actually makes more sense than doing wins. We just do 2-1-3. And then Arsenal D-react. So the 1 is going to get eaten by the flick knives, presumably. Assuming they don't want to just like give us a card here. And they give us 3 block here. We sit on flick. Pretty good. Draw cheese, excellent. So they don't really normally have a way to pop Leave No unless they're running that 1 card that like pumps contract. So I think we're pretty safe to just say no blocks here and flack this. So they're gonna go for the black text. We'll go for the flick. I don't think there's anything they can have here that's really gonna stop us. I guess we're just arsenaling the Gust Wave here. But yeah, it seems like we pretty much got this unlocked now, I think. They have to have like a very weird set of cards to actually like live through this. Like maybe like 2 shelters plus like another 2 D-reacts or something like that. Seems unlikely. But yeah, I think you kind of just have to play this like pretty patiently, like how you normally play like the CC matchup of like Marionette versus Zen. Just like be very patient, try to take like value lines. I don't think this matchup is actually that bad for Zen. Like you kind of just the 3 D-reacts help a lot. All right, so they do have a shelter, which might help them a bit here, but notably the Tiger Swipe does eat the prevention. A lot of Blitz players actually like don't know about the prevention clause, but it seems like they're going to cover it here. And then we'll just end on the Censor. Fortunately, not doing much here, but yeah. So sitting on a Codex, which was pretty good. Give them a good game. I think, so what do they have left in terms of threats? They had Kiss of Death, obviously, Leave No. They had the 1 Codex they were sitting on and just Shelter, so no like inertia traps or anything. But yeah, it seems like a pretty stock standard Marionette list. Or sorry, this is a Marionette. This is like a Slippy list, right? Functionally the same hero, just like less chaos cards. All right, but I think that's probably gonna wrap it up for today. So this was my kind of first place Blitz Skirmish list. The Blitz Skirmish wasn't that big. It was like 10 people. But still pretty cool that I won it. Got some more L points for our boys then. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed the list. I think if there's anything I would change about this list is maybe changing this like 1 Breed Anger for like a random blue card just to play a little bit better into like Blaze and have a little bit more blue count. I think that's pretty reasonable. But I also think that like the Breed Anger is like fine. But for the most part, I feel like the shell of this list is like pretty optimal. You don't need a second Cosmic for most decks just because CYB is not legal anymore, and I think like the 3 D-reacts on the sideboard help, and the equipment seat also seems pretty good. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Again, this is probably going to be the last time I do Blitz content for a little while, just because I think it's like, I don't know, it's a lot less interesting to some people, but I think I had fun, at least for like the first Blitz Skirmish I've probably done in a couple months at least. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and let me know if you have any thoughts on the deck, and I'll see you all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.